You know that moment when you decide not to answer? When your phone lights up, your heart skips, and you feel that familiar pull the bait, and for the first time, you just stop. You don't react. You don't explain. You don't take the hook. You breathe. You feel the silence. And in that silence, something inside you shifts. That right there, that's calm power. Most people think staying calm is weakness. They think if you don't clap back, if you don't defend yourself, if you don't explain your side, you've lost. But I want you to hear me when I say this. Calm is not weakness. Calm is control. Because here's the truth. Nobody tells you the person who can stay calm in chaos owns the room. And that includes every single interaction with a narcissist. You've heard about the gray rock method, right? It's the advice everyone gives. Just be boring. Be unresponsive. Be a rock. And yes, at first, it works. You stop feeding their ego and they pull back. You create space. But here's the problem. You're still tense. You're quiet on the outside, but your mind is still running laps inside your head. You're silent, but you're not free. Because gray rock is defense. It's survival. It's what you do when you don't know another way. But calm power is offense. Calm power is not shrinking. It's not pretending. It's not disappearing into silence hoping they'll stop. It's standing right there, breathing deeply, and knowing exactly who you are. It's the difference between shutting down and showing up with unshakable energy. Because when you step into calm power, you're not reacting to their chaos, you're leading the interaction. And they feel it. They feel it when you don't take the bait. They feel it when you respond instead of react. They feel it when your energy no longer bends to match theirs. That's the moment control changes hands. That's the moment their performance starts to fall apart, not because you fought them, but because you refuse to play. So today, I'm not here to tell you to hide behind silence. I'm here to teach you how to use it, to turn calm into command, to take the power back without ever raising your voice. Because peace isn't passive. It's power, deliberate, grounded, unshakable power. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use it step by step so you never lose yourself again in someone else's storm. Let's talk about gray rock. It's the advice you see all over the internet. Just be neutral, be boring, don't react. And at first, it sounds empowering, doesn't it? You finally have a strategy. You think, if I just give them nothing, they'll get bored and leave me alone. And for a while, it does work. You stop arguing. You stop explaining. You stop pouring your energy into someone who twists every word you say. But here's the truth. No one tells you gray rock is only half the equation. Because yes, silence can protect you, but silence on its own doesn't free you. When you're gray rocking, you may not be talking, but you're still thinking about them. You're still analyzing every move, every text, every sigh. You're still waiting for the next jab, the next explosion, the next apology that feels almost real. You've stopped feeding them words, but you're still feeding them energy. You're quiet, but you're not at peace. You're still in the game, just not speaking. And that's not freedom. That's survival. Now, let me tell you something important. Narcissists adapt. They learn your silence pattern. They notice when you withdraw. They feel the energy shift, and they start testing new tactics. They'll poke at your empathy. They'll push at your guilt. They'll say, you've changed, just to make you question whether your boundaries are cruelty. And when you stay silent long enough, they'll twist that silence too. They'll say, see, you don't care anymore. They'll turn your peace into their proof that you're the problem. Why? Because silence to a narcissist is not peace, it's provocation. It's a vacuum they need to fill. So what do? They escalate. They switch tactics. They go from cold to charming, cruel to kind, all within the same hour. You see, gray rock protects your surface, but calm power protects your core. Gray rock says, I won't react. Calm power says, I will respond with clarity, with composure, with control. One is about enduring their behavior. The other is about ending its hold on you. Because here's the truth. When you go numb to survive, you also go numb to your intuition. And your intuition is your superpower. If you silence your instincts to stay safe, you start losing touch with that inner voice that says, this doesn't feel right. And that's exactly how they keep you stuck, not through noise, but through confusion. So I want you to stop mistaking numbness for strength. Stop calling emotional shutdown peace. Peace isn't quiet desperation. Peace is clarity, a calm that's alive, alert, and unshakable. Gray rock is defense. Calm power, that's leadership. That's the moment you stop being reactive and start being deliberate. And from this moment on, I want you to remember this truth. You don't win by becoming less of yourself. You win by becoming more of your awareness. Let's go deeper, because this is where everything changes. If gray rock is about withholding energy, calm power is about mastering it. Most people think calm means passive. They think calm means detached, unbothered, maybe even cold. But I'm here to tell you, calm is not indifference. Calm is command. It's the quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove anything. It's that moment when you look at chaos and instead of matching it, you lower your energy. You slow down. You breathe. And suddenly, they're the only one spinning. That's not weakness, that's leadership. Calm power is when your energy stops feeding theirs. A narcissist needs your emotional oxygen. Your reaction, your anger, your tears, your explanations, that's what keeps them alive. It's their fuel. But when you stay calm, genuinely calm, not frozen, not silent out of fear, but grounded, they can't breathe. They start to stumble. They lose rhythm because without your reaction, their script falls apart. See, narcissistic control is an illusion built on confusion. They pull you into arguments you didn't start. They rewrite reality in real time. They make you question what's true. And the more confused you are, the more control they have. But calm power ends confusion because clarity doesn't argue. Clarity doesn't perform. Clarity just is. When you speak from calm power, you don't defend yourself, you describe reality. You don't raise your voice, you lower your tone. You don't chase peace, you become it. And that changes everything. Let me give you an example. I worked with a woman, smart, successful, strong, but every time she spoke to her ex, she'd walk away shaking. She'd say, I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just stayed quiet. But her mind kept replaying the conversation all night long. She wasn't calm. She was contained. There's a difference. Containment is pressure. Calm is power. When she learned to breathe before answering, to feel her feet on the ground, to let her voice slow down instead of speeding up, the energy flipped. He didn't know why, but suddenly he couldn't hook her. His words stopped working. His tone lost its bite. That's what calm power does. It doesn't just silence their noise, it rewires the entire dynamic. Because when your nervous system stays steady, their manipulation loses oxygen. They can throw the same words at you, but they no longer land. You're no longer a mirror reflecting their chaos. You're a wall of still water and they can't find their reflection anymore. That's the shift from reaction to regulation, from silence to sovereignty, from surviving them to standing in yourself. And that's where we begin building the foundation of calm power, step by step, stage by stage. Because yes, it's a skill, it's trainable. And once you have it, no one, not a narcissist, not a boss, not a partner, can ever pull you back into their storm again. Let's break this down. Because calm power isn't a personality trait, it's a practice. It's something you build one moment, one breath, one boundary at a time. And it happens in 4 stages: awareness, regulation, clarity, exit. That's the framework. That's how you reclaim your peace without ever losing your voice. Stage it. Awareness. You can't take your power back from what you refuse to see. Everything begins here. Before you can respond calmly, you have to see what's actually happening. When you're with a narcissist or anyone manipulative, they train you to doubt your reality. They say, You're overreacting. You're imagining things. You're so sensitive. And little by little, you stop trusting your instincts. Awareness is how you break that spell. It's the moment you start naming things for what they are. You notice the guilt trip. You recognize the gaslighting. You feel the emotional shift in your body before your brain can explain it. That's your truth waking up. That's awareness. And the second you name it, oh, that's manipulation, that's projection, that's deflection, it loses power because you can't be hypnotized by something you're consciously watching. Awareness is like turning the lights on in a dark room. Nothing new appears, you just finally see what was always there. Stage 2, regulation. You can't speak calm if your nervous system's in chaos. Now that you see what's happening, you've got to steady yourself because awareness without regulation will still make you react. When your heart starts racing, your palms sweat, your throat tightens, that's your body saying, we've been here before. It's not safe. And if you don't interrupt that pattern, you'll go right back into the cycle, defending, explaining, reacting. So here's how you regulate. You pause. You breathe in through your nose for a count of 5. You exhale slower than you inhaled. You name what you're feeling. I'm angry. I'm anxious. I feel unsafe. That's not weakness, that's control. Labeling emotion moves it from chaos to clarity. Then drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and lower your tone intentionally, because the calmer your body becomes, the more chaotic they sound. And that's when you realize they're not the authority anymore. You are. Stage 3, clarity. Confusion is their power source. Clarity is yours. This is where the transformation happens. When you've regulated your nervous system, you can see straight through the noise. You stop defending yourself against nonsense. You stop chasing closure from people who thrive on confusion. Now, clarity isn't confrontation. It's not about arguing. It's about making simple, factual statements and letting silence do the rest. Say less, mean more. When they twist the story, you say, that's not accurate. When they provoke you, you say, I'm not discussing this right now. When they guilt you, you say, I understand how you feel, but my decision stands. Short, neutral, final. Clarity doesn't explain. It declares. And that's why it works. Because narcissists need confusion to keep control, and your clarity takes it away. Stage 4, exit. Power isn't what you say, it's what you stop giving. Once you've said what you need to say, leave. Physically, emotionally, or energetically. Step out. You don't have to announce your boundaries in a speech. You don't need to convince them you're done. You simply act like it's done because it is. When you disengage without hostility, you're sending a message. My peace is not negotiable. And that's the moment everything changes. Because narcissists thrive on pulling you back in through arguments, tears, charm, apologies, or even silence. But calm power doesn't chase. Calm power doesn't prove. Calm power simply removes energy. That's not cruelty. That's clarity in motion. So remember this progression. Awareness gives you vision. Regulation gives you control. Clarity gives you voice. Exit gives you freedom. That's how you move from reacting to leading. That's how you stop surviving their chaos and start creating your peace. Now let's talk about why calm power works, not just emotionally, but psychologically. Because when you understand why something happens, you stop taking it personally. See, narcissists crave one thing above all else: reaction. They don't want connection, they want control. And the fastest way to feel in control of someone is to make them react. Think about it. Every time they push your buttons and you explode, defend, cry, justify, or even over-explain, they win. Because now you're performing. They're pulling the strings and you're dancing to their rhythm. It's not even about the words. It's about the energy exchange. Your reaction is their validation that they still matter. that they still have access to your emotional world. When you react, you're feeding them oxygen. When you regulate, you're cutting off their air supply. That's why staying calm feels so powerful, because it is. It's the psychological equivalent of unplugging the power cord while keeping your own light on. And here's the fascinating part. They can feel it. Even if you don't say a word, even if you just stand there, calm and steady, their nervous system senses the shift. Because their control has always depended on your chaos. When you refuse to engage, they panic not because they care, but because they're losing control of the story. And when they lose control of the story, they lose their identity. So what do? They escalate. They double down. They throw out new bait guilt, flattery, even fake vulnerability. They'll say, "You've changed. You're so cold. I just want to talk." But none of that is about healing. It's about hooking. They're trying to pull you back into the performance to get one more reaction, one more burst of energy to prove they still matter. But you've learned the pattern now. You know what's happening behind the curtain. So when you feel that pull, that urge to explain, to correct the record, to have the last word stop, take a breath. Remind yourself, this isn't about me. This is about control. And then don't give it. Because here's the paradox. Your calm is their chaos. When you stop reacting, you're no longer predictable. And unpredictability is their worst nightmare. They can handle your anger. They've trained for that. They can handle your tears. They thrive on that. But your calm, your composure, your quiet certainty that you see through them, that unravels them. Because narcissistic control only thrives in emotional confusion. When you bring awareness into the space, when you stay clear, calm, and grounded, their manipulation loses traction. You've taken away their favorite weapon, your reaction. So let them talk. Let them twist. Let them perform. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You've already won the moment you stop feeding it. That's the real psychology of calm power. It doesn't destroy the other person. It disarms the illusion. And once the illusion fades, you finally see what's been true all along. You were never powerless. You were just provoked. All right. We've talked about awareness. We've talked about why calm matters. Now let's get practical. Because power without a structure won't last. You can't just want to be calm. You have to train calm. And that's what I call the calm power stack. It's 4 layers that work together, like gears in an engine. Tone, language, timing, exit. You master these 4, and you'll never lose yourself in another manipulative conversation again. Layer 1, tone, the grounding frequency. Tone is everything. Before words even land, your tone tells the whole story. If your voice is shaky, high, rushed, or defensive, they know they've got you. They feel your nervous system through your tone. So here's the shift. Lower it. Slow it down. Drop into your body before you speak. Say less, but say it slower. When your tone is grounded, your words carry weight, even if you only say one sentence. You don't need to shout to be powerful. You don't need to sound angry to be firm. You don't even need to explain. Your calm energy says everything. You can literally say, "I understand what you're saying," in a tone so grounded it ends the conversation. Because your voice says, "I'm not entering your chaos." Your tone becomes the shield that protects your peace. Layer 2, language say less, mean more. When you're dealing with someone manipulative, language is your weapon or your weakness. They thrive on word battles, on pulling you into endless explanations. So your power move, stop giving them paragraphs. Start giving them sentences. Short, clear, neutral. "No, I just think," "No, maybe you misunderstood." "No, I didn't mean it that way." That's emotional bait, and they'll take it every time. Instead, use direct phrases that don't invite debate. "That's not accurate. I'm not discussing that. This is my decision. I don't agree." That's it. No tone of apology, no softening, just clean truth, because clarity ends arguments before they begin. And when your words stop giving them something to twist, they run out of material to manipulate. Layer 3, timing, the power of pause. You want to know what really throws a narcissist off? Silence. Not the cold, withdrawn kind, the deliberate kind. When they ask a loaded question, don't rush to fill the space. Pause, breathe, let the silence hang. That pause is power. It gives your brain a chance to regulate and your intuition a chance to lead. It also makes them deeply uncomfortable because they can't predict what's coming next. In that pause, you regain the upper hand. Then, when you speak, keep your tone low and your sentences short. That combination, stillness, breath, and clarity, creates authority. Remember, reacting fast is what they expect. Responding slow is what disarms them. Layer 4, exit the calm closure. And finally, the exit. Every manipulative interaction has one goal: to keep you engaged. Your goal is the opposite: to end it cleanly, calmly, and confidently. So decide your exit strategy before you enter the conversation. You can say, I've said what I needed to say. I'm done with this conversation. I'm stepping away now. And then actually step away physically or emotionally. No last word, no follow-up text, no post-argument essay. Because when you end the interaction calmly, you're saying, you don't control the tempo anymore. You've taken back rhythm, tone, and time, the 3 currencies of power in any relationship. Now, I want you to picture this. Someone's trying to bait you. They're twisting your words. The old you would have defended, explained, maybe even cried. But now, you're still, you're steady, you're breathing. Your voice drops. You respond once, then you stop. That's it. That's the calm power stack in motion. It's not about winning an argument. It's about ending the performance. Because here's the truth. They can't play the game without a partner. And the moment you stop performing, the show ends. That's what calm power looks like in real life. Quiet, simple, and unstoppable. All right? You've built your foundation: awareness, regulation, clarity, and exit. You've learned the calm power stack: tone, language, timing, and exit. Now we take it deeper, because calm power isn't just something you say, it's something you radiate. This next level is what I call the energy mirror. See, every interaction you have is an exchange of energy, not just words. You don't even have to speak for people to feel you. They feel your tension. They feel your calm. They feel whether you're centered or not. And narcissists, they're masters at reading energy. They don't listen to your words. They listen to your nervous system. They sense when you're uncomfortable. They sense when they've hooked you. They sense when your calm is fake, and they'll press harder until it cracks. So this next level is about real energetic mastery. It's not about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming calm. Here's the truth. You can't out-argue a narcissist. You can't out-manipulate a manipulator, but you can out-center them. You can become so grounded in your own energy that their chaos bounces right off you. And this is where the mirror comes in. Imagine that between you and them, there's a pane of glass, clear, solid, invisible. You can see them, you can hear them, but nothing passes through. Their words hit the glass, and you watch them slide down, harmless. You're not absorbing anymore. You're observing. That's the mirror. It's awareness without absorption. It's compassion without attachment. It's presence without participation. And this is where your power becomes unshakable. Because here's the thing, narcissists need you to reflect their illusion. They need to see their image in your reaction. They study your eyes, your posture, your tone, because that's how they know their mask is still working. But when you stand in calm power, the mirror changes. You're no longer reflecting their projection, you're reflecting truth. They see it instantly. They see the stillness in your eyes. They sense the neutrality in your tone. They realize they can't find their reflection in you anymore, and that terrifies them. Because now, their favorite tool, your reaction, is gone. They might smirk, they might accuse, they might test you, but inside, They feel it, the loss of control. And here's where you hold steady. You don't gloat. You don't attack. You don't need to. You simply be, because power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the steady breath, the soft tone, the posture that says, I see you and I'm no longer playing. So when you're in that moment, when they're talking circles around you, twisting every sentence, imagine that glass wall. See their energy hit it. Hear your own breath steady behind it. Feel your feet on the ground, your shoulders back, your chest open. That's not defense, that's sovereignty. Because the mirror doesn't fight the reflection. It just holds the truth. And the more you practice this, the faster your nervous system learns. We're safe. That's what breaks the cycle. Not arguing, not proving, not pleasing presence. Because when you stop absorbing their chaos, they're forced to face their own. And that's when the mask starts to crack. That's when the dynamic finally shifts permanently. You've done the hardest part. You stopped reacting. You stood in your calm. You broke the cycle. Now what? Because the moment the chaos ends, something strange happens, silence. And that silence can feel confusing at first. After living in constant alertness, peace can almost feel like absence, like something's missing. But it's not emptiness, it's space. And this is where rebuilding begins. When you've lived around manipulation or control, your nervous system learns to expect tension. So even when the noise stops, your body still waits for the next explosion. You might find yourself overthinking, checking your phone, replaying conversations. That's not weakness. That's conditioning. So now your work isn't to analyze them anymore. It's to retrain your body to feel safe in calm. Every time you breathe deeply and nothing bad happens, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you choose stillness instead of spiraling, you're teaching your body, we're okay now. And that's how peace becomes muscle memory. Here's what I want you to do in this stage. 3 simple practices. First, reconnect with yourself. Write down what you feel without judgment. Not what they said, not what they did, what you feel. Put language to it. I feel lighter. I feel uncertain. I feel free. Naming it brings it out of your body and into awareness. Second, reclaim your attention. Every time your mind drifts back to the past, to what they're doing, who they're with, what they think, gently bring it back to now. Because rumination is just another way they live rent-free. In your mind, presence is eviction. Third, rebuild your identity around truth, not trauma. Ask yourself, who am I when I'm not surviving someone else's chaos? Because so many people come out of toxic relationships not even knowing who they are anymore. You start to realize you don't have to earn peace. You just have to stop abandoning it. Listen, peace isn't quiet because nothing's happening. Peace is quiet because you're finally not performing. You're not shrinking, explaining, apologizing for feeling too much or wanting too little. You're just being. And that stillness, that's strength. Because the calm you fought to create, that's the kind of calm that builds foundations. It's the kind of calm that keeps your heart open, but your boundaries firm. It's the kind that says, I love deeply, but I never again lose myself to be loved. This is the season where calm stops being something you practice. It becomes who you are. So the next time your peace feels uncomfortable, don't rush to fill the silence. Sit in it. Let it expand. Because that silence is your healing breathing out. It's your intuition returning home. It's your power settling back where it always belonged inside you. Take a deep breath with me. You've learned the truth, you've practiced the calm, and now it's time to live it. Because awareness by itself is only the beginning. Awareness without action keeps you stuck in observation. Awareness followed by new boundaries, that's transformation. This is where you turn everything we've talked about into a daily practice. Because the power you've found doesn't just belong in one relationship, it belongs everywhere you go. You bring it into your work. You bring it into your friendships. You bring it into how you talk to yourself when nobody's watching. Calm power isn't just how you deal with narcissists. It's how you deal with life. Every time you face criticism and choose clarity instead of defense, that's calm power. Every time someone tries to pull you into their storm and you decide, no, I'm going to stay in my peace, that's calm power. Every time your own mind starts replaying old fears and you pause, breathe, and say, we're safe now, that's calm power. It's not about perfection. It's about pattern. And every time you choose calm, you're building a new one. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to prove your growth by confronting anyone. You don't need to announce your boundaries to make them real. Your peace will announce itself. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you stop explaining yourself. That's your new language now. Because true power doesn't need volume. It needs clarity. It's quiet, grounded, steady. That's how you'll know you've changed. When your calm no longer feels like effort. When it becomes instinct. When silence doesn't feel empty, but full. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, practice deliberate calm. Before you answer a message, before you respond to criticism, before you speak to anyone who drains your energy, pause. Feel your feet. Drop your shoulders. Lower your tone. And then respond, or don't. That pause is the space where power lives. Because that's what this whole journey is really about. Space. Space between what they do and how you react. Space between your past and your next decision. Space between chaos and clarity. And the more space you create, the more peace you live in. So when the next storm comes, and it will, I want you to remember this, you don't have to match their energy. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to fight to be seen. You've already seen yourself. You've already chosen peace. And when you stand in that awareness, when you refuse to feed the illusion, when you hold calm like a light in the dark, you're not just breaking cycles. You're becoming the example. You're showing others what real strength looks like. Because calm doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means everything is happening inside you, quietly, powerfully, finally. So take that calm, take that clarity, and walk forward, not to win, not to prove, but simply because peace looks good on you.